All right, once again. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Questions?
Yeah! What are you on? Looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me. Nice hearing from you, Carlos. Wait. What do you know? I beat my high score.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Master Rating. We are almost finishing the entire series of A Nightmare on Elm Street. We will be polishing things off later on this week with Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. But now we are finishing it off with the final movie in the A Nightmare on Elm Street series with this absolute disastrous piece of shit of a movie. This is a movie that is likable for so many of the wrong reasons. And everybody that's been following this series from the beginning, from 1 all the way to 5, and now 6. And I'll give you an update on where we're at on the ratings, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the biggest fucking spoiler alert right here at the beginning of the show. This is the worst fucking movie. This is the literal worst one. The Dream Child is awful. But this movie is an abomination. I am a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. This movie is fucking trash. There are some funny parts to it, funny aspects, but it went from a terrifying Freddy Krueger, a movie where you're kind of scared to watch it at times, to it being a very slapsticky, joke-infusing, garbage festival of a fucking movie, completed with Freddy killing people. It's not fucking scary. Not even in the least bit. This is a movie you go to even in 91 when it came out. This is a movie even when you go to it. People in the theater would have had to have been laughing way more than they were cringing in their seats every time Freddy Krueger was on the fucking screen. But now, they were still cringing in their seats, but they were cringing because they realized that they had paid money to go and see it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some very funny parts to the movie. Legitimately funny. But for the most part, this movie is funny because of how fucking awful it is. It's horrible. The movie completely, the whole Kristen died, in 4. Alice is dead. Dan is dead. Nobody's around. Everybody's fucking gone. They just threw in a brand new cast of people, kill them off, don't let you get attached to the characters whatsoever, kill them off, and then the movie, hands down, has the worst ending I think I've ever seen. It's awful. Now, we'll see where the Friday the 13th series matches up with these. There are more Friday the 13th than there are Nightmare on Elm Street. But I guarantee you, now I don't know, maybe not. I don't remember a whole lot of the Friday the 13th. I was a Nightmare on Elm Street guy. We'll see when we get there. Don't worry, I'm going to review every one of them. And when I get finished with part 7 of this series, when I do a new Nightmare, I'm going to compile each and every one of these together into one, MP3 and video file. That way, people that want to listen to the whole saga from start to finish, you can listen to all of them. But this movie, the ending to this movie, now I know a lot of the Friday the 13th movies had some bad endings, bad middles, bad beginnings, probably even more so than A Nightmare on Elm Street. But this movie ends, and there is no way that at the end of the movie, every single time in the theater, that it wasn't like a stand-up comedy routine at the end. There had to have been so much laughing in the theater that the fucking attendants and shit went into the theater and were about to check to make sure that they were playing the correct movie. It's not a comedy. But people would have been laughing so bad because of the ending being so atrocious. This movie was also in 3D for a portion of it. We got a lot to talk about with this fucking garbage movie. If this is your first time tuning into Master Rating, I hope you will hit that subscribe button. Give it 5 stars. I try to bring something a little different here to JB Sports Radio. Daily uploads on sports content. We are a very, very sports-oriented site, obviously. It's called JB Sports Radio. If you can't tell, I'm a little under the weather right now. Got some shit going on in my fucking throat, and I don't know how to explain it. It's very dry, coffee, as in, not like the coffee that you drink, which right now I could really go for. Very desperate for some coffee. As a matter of fact, I may have to end this show and go get some because my voice is in shambles. But in the meantime, no, fuck that. All right, so I feel a little better. I think that's probably the first time I've had to stop the show right in the middle to make sure and get my voice under control. I feel much better now. It was very dry. I'd been coughing. The weather's been fucked here lately. But all right, so we're back to Freddy's Dead. I don't remember where the fuck I left off. So I'm just going to go from where I hope I left off. And this movie is fucking garbage. No, I'm just kidding. It is garbage. But the movie itself, they did get Robert Englund to play Freddy, and I feel so bad for him because they turned his character into a joke. At one point, this guy was feared. He was at one point, Freddy Krueger was somebody that people were afraid to go to sleep because they thought they would dream about this fucking guy. And in this movie, he was a fucking comedian. He was a straight-up stand-up comedian in this fucking movie. Now, there were some legitimately funny parts, like the Carlos death. That's why I included it into the intro of this show. Let me go over the characters. So first of all, you have this crazy dyke bitch who, her dad, molested her and stuff, so she hates men. Just hates them to death. She's an angry woman who clearly needs some dicking. And then you have this fucking loser who just, uproots. He either comes to Springwood or he came from Springwood, and he just, randomly is teleported from his bedroom into this fucking random town. I can't remember if it's Springwood or not. I don't know. The movie is so horribly plotted that I can't even remember. And I've seen this movie multiple times. So he just randomly gets uprooted in this random town. He's walking the streets in a pair of fucking sweatpants and a t-shirt and no shoes. They pick him up and they send him to this juvenile fucking, I don't know, therapeutic place. I don't know, kind of like the third movie, but it's not fun. So they send him to this place, and there's this woman who, is trying to keep these kids under control. She's the warden, I guess, and she's also, their therapist. And then you also have the kid from Road Trip. I don't remember his name, the main guy. He's in this movie. He's a fucking stoner. He's whatever. He's a fucking stoner. He was chopped meat as soon as he comes on the screen. And then you have Carlos, who is this kind of Puerto Rican, Hispanic dude. I don't know, and he's fucking deaf too. He's got to wear a hearing aid. And then there's this big black guy who works at the center with the kids and stuff. And that's it. Other than Freddy, that is your character list. You have a dykey angry woman who needs dickin'. You have a stoner guy, and you have a Puerto Rican dude who's deaf. Those are the three, and then you have the fucking loser kid who gets teleported, who is such a white bread, boring character you could not give two fucks about. And then you have the chick. The movies are always based around a main chick, right? And then the main chick is like the fucking therapist or whatever. And you have Freddy and the black guy. That is your character list. That is it. So this kid gets uprooted into this town. He goes to this place, this little detention center. He's dreaming. He's saying this guy that's trying to kill him, blah, blah, blah. This old same, the shtick or whatever. And throughout the whole movie, there's like flashbacks of like this little girl, this little girl like playing in a backyard. And then you see a guy go to pick her up. And what they're doing is foreshadowing. Spoiler alert, by the way. I'm just going to throw spoilers out left and right in no particular order. Well, the therapy chick, the main girl, ends up being the daughter of Freddy Krueger before he went insane, but he's like during the phase where he's like into little girls and little boys and before he starts killing people. Well, in the flashback, he ends up killing his wife, and the little girl sees it, and obviously it's Robert Englund playing the guy, and he's like, come here, you're daddy's little girl. It's really weird. They also flash back to, and this makes no fucking sense, makes no sense as to how Freddy is created. So, like, Freddy Krueger in his young days is, like, cutting himself and enjoying the pain, and to the point where he doesn't feel any pain. And then his dad, who is actually played by Alice Cooper, comes downstairs and he's like, Freddy, time to get your medicine, Freddy. I'm not even exaggerating. So he starts like whipping Freddy with a belt really hard, and Freddy's just laughing. Kills his dad, is magically infused with demonic powers, just completely destroying whatever story, as in he was burned alive by these people, and he comes back as a demon who's burnt up. All that's out the window. That's gone. Bye-bye. That means nothing in this movie. So that's the therapy chick's storyline. She ends up being the daughter of Freddy Krueger, and then we'll talk about that a little later on. So the story takes place where, the angry dykey chick, the stoner, and the Puerto Rican dude, they try to get in the back of this van so that they can escape. Turns out that the therapy chick and the boring dude, I don't know their names. I don't care neither. They go to take a drive to where the kid believes there could be some sort of answer to why he's dreaming about this guy. Turns out the chicks are in the back of the kids are in the back of the van, and the therapy chick gets mad and says, "You need to go call a cab and get back to the detention center right now." Well, they end up going to like some abandoned house, and that's pretty much where they all start getting picked off one by one, except for the chick. So, no cool death scenes, none at all. They're all stupid. They're all fucking stupid. Funny, but stupid. So the stoner guy, we'll start with him. Actually, no, we'll start with Carlos. He's the first to bite the dust. So Carlos is deaf as shit. He's wearing his hearing aid, so he falls asleep. And what Freddy does is he ends up like molding the hearing aid to his ear, and he ties it down with like, burnt up little tentacles and shit, and turns it up to like 10 billion volume, to the point where Freddy starts like pretending like, he drops like a little pin needle, and Carlos has to run and catch it because he's afraid if it hits the ground it'll explode his head. Well, then he catches the needle. Well, then Freddy has a handful of needles. He drops all those. They start hitting the ground very, very loud. The kid's head almost explodes. Well, then his hearing aid just goes completely off, to the point where he can hear nothing at all. And to what is actually a very funny part, Freddy pops up behind him. There's no sound in the movie whatsoever right now. Freddy's jumping up and down behind him, spinning in circles, and, just it was actually pretty legitimately funny. Well, then he turns it back on, and then Freddy magically pulls out a chalkboard and starts scratching the chalkboard over and over and over again. And probably the funniest part of the movie to me is watching Freddy like scratch the chalkboard and like air hump and shit. He's just loving this chalkboard bit so much. He's so proud of himself. And then Carlos's head fucking explodes and he dies. And that's when you heard the part at the beginning. Nice hearing from you, Carlos. Well, then the stoner chick, you heard that, or the stoner guy you heard at the beginning, he falls asleep. He wakes up to Johnny Depp, who makes a cameo, who is Glenn and was killed in the very first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So the stoner guy falls asleep. Well, he ends up being controlled by Freddy on a Nintendo game. That's when you heard the boing, 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 boing. He's like jumping the kid up and down the staircase, and it's literally making the noise. Doing, 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 doing. Anyways, he kills him in the fucking video game, and that's when Freddy says, "Be my high score." He's fucking dead. Well, they kill the main guy, or I should say, the side character guy, who doesn't get any fucking story whatsoever, pretty much. They kill him, he falls on a bed of spikes. It's not even worth getting into, people, I'm telling you. It's really, really not. Well, kind of similar to the first movie, they find out that they can pull Freddy from the dream world. They can pull him out of the dream world, so if they can pull him out, they can kill him that way. And so the black guy helps the therapy chick. He plugs her into this sleep system so that he can monitor when she's having something crazy go on. He can wake her up with like some sort of shock therapy. I don't know, something like that. And then they can pull Freddy out. Well, when he goes into the dream world, the black guy just goes, "By the way, take these with you. You'll know when you need to use them." He hands her a pair of 3D glasses to get the audience in the movie theaters to completely forget about what a garbage film this is. They throw 3D glasses on people to escape this. It's so bad. Oh my God, it's so bad. Once it goes into 3D, it is just like, it is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's literally like they're spoofing a movie. So she goes into the world, it goes 3D. We wore the 3D glasses at home. It doesn't fucking work. It's stupid. So she goes into the dream world, finds out she's Freddy Krueger's daughter. Somehow pulls Freddy out of the dream. I don't know. And somehow they find some dream idol that's like some sort of ancient statue or something. They kill the ancient statue, and Freddy's head, he dies. Oh my God, this movie's so bad. I wish I could just go into more detail about it, but I really can't. It's that fucking bad. It's this bad. It's as bad as this episode is. Oh my God. I think I'm breaking out in hives right now. This movie's so bad. So she's going in a showdown with Freddy. She's got a baseball bat. She's beating the shit out of him with that. Somehow they end up fucking destroying this dream demon idol that's like the source of Freddy's power. They kill him. They go through this crazy, like, 3D, down a tunnel, little demon worms or whatever, in the air like, whoa, whoa. They go down the rabbit hole or whatever the fuck it is. Freddy's head pops up on the screen. He just, and he explodes. And people, I'm not even making this up. She wakes up out of the dream after having killed Freddy. The one chick, the angry dyke chick, survives. She's leaned up against a wall. The therapy chick wakes up, walks over to her. The black guy walks over to her and takes the little therapy sticky things off her head. He literally just smiles at the chick. And the therapy chick just goes, "Freddy's dead."
Freddy's dead.
Shut up, you fucking horrible acting bitch. It's a little harsh. Little harsh. No, it sucks. That was the ending. That was the ending of that movie. Freddy's dead. Credits. Everyone in that theater had to have been laughing hysterically. That was the ending to that fucking movie. What the fuck is going on? Of all ways you could have killed off Freddy Krueger, who had been dominating the horror slasher franchise for nearly a decade at that point. That's how you end that movie. Oh, it is one of the most frustrating, embarrassing things ever. Thank God Wes Craven was like, I need to make a movie to revitalize this shit, because that was just god-awful. Wes Craven rescued A Nightmare on Elm Street with A New Nightmare, which I can't wait to fucking talk about. I cannot wait to talk about that movie because it's so good. So good. This movie stinks. This movie is fucking ridiculously awful. Now, all right. It's time to cut to the chase and do the actual gimmick of this show, and that is give it my master rating. Quick recap. I hope I get these right. The very first movie I gave a 7.7. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 took a very big dip down to 5.1. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, ladies and gentlemen, Dream Warriors, 7.9. I actually, until this series started, did I realize that was my favorite one. 7.9. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, got a 5.5. And last week's show, The Dream Child, got an abysmal 4.2. This show is about to blow, this movie is going to blow that score out of the water in terms of how shitty this fucking movie is. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, my master rating is going to be 3.6. 3.6 is my master rating for A Nightmare on Elm Street, or I should say, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Final Nightmare. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. 3.6. Trash. And that concludes the first 6 movies of A Nightmare on Elm Street. The actual trailer, or what would be the lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Because A New Nightmare is something completely different. It's still Freddy Krueger. It's a different movie. You'll understand more when we break it down in episode number 7. But that is it for episode number 6. Thank God. Because I have been dreading parts 5 and 6 of this series so bad. And I'm done. I'm fucking done. Thank God. People, I would say watch this movie. I'll leave it up to you. I will completely leave it up to you. Parts 5 and 6, your choice. Whether you watch them or not, I don't give a shit. Parts 1 through 4, I would give those a watch. 1 and 3, must watch. If you're going to watch them and you don't watch these movies, if you listen to these reviews simply to be entertained and to listen to my reviews of them personally, watch parts 1 and 3. And you know what? That's all you have to watch. You can just watch 1 and 3. There you go. End it on that note. Because you could get away with that. They could literally end that way. Parts 1 and 3. That is it for episode number 7 of, 6. That's it for episode number 6 of Master Rating, reviewing Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, but I want to know your rating for this movie. What is your master rating? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know on Twitter at JB Sports Radio. Also, go to jbsportsradio.com for even more content. We are a sports radio network here. It is all sports every single day. But to switch things up, give people a break from the sports world, we do Master Rating, where we drop reviews of movies, or I should say I do. Once I do A New Nightmare, which will actually be dropping this week here in a few days, maybe tomorrow. I haven't decided if it's going to release tomorrow or Wednesday. And then after that, we're going to take either the rest of the week off for Master Rating and then return next week, or I really, really want to do a review, switch things up entirely, and do a review of the new Bohemian Rhapsody movie, the movie they made based on Queen and Freddie Mercury, and their the launching of the band Queen. Because I got a lot to say. I loved the movie. I will say that much. So a review for Bohemian Rhapsody possibly by this Friday, maybe next week. I may just do it over the weekend. I think we're going to the theaters again this weekend. We're going to watch that new Grinch movie that's coming out. Neither here nor there. But A new Nightmare will be dropping this week. It should be tomorrow or Wednesday. We shall see. I am doing so many podcasts right now, it's ridiculous. Just trying not to get burnt out. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, 3.6 out of 10. Our rating scale here on this show. I know a lot of people were thinking that it might have been out of 5 stars. Well, you are a fucking buffoon, because how can you get a 7.9 out of 5 stars? This is on a scale of 10. I am giving it a 3.6 garbage. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I am your host, JB. Follow me on Twitter at JB Sports Radio. Check out jbsportsradio.com. This has been episode number 6 of Master Rating. And I will see you guys in a day or 2 days. We'll see what happens for episode number 7, capping off entirely A Nightmare on Elm Street. You know what? That's not true, because I got to do Freddy versus Jason and the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. We're not done with A Nightmare on Elm Street. We're going hard. Bigger than the star.